Hey, Miami sports fans. Stop by Canesware today at 2655 South University Drive in Davie, Florida. And check out their awesome merchandise selection of your favorite South Florida sports teams. From the Miami Dolphins, Hurricanes, Heat, Marlins, Florida Panthers, and Inter Miami, they've got it all. Celebrate your favorite team and show off your fandom with their beautiful team starter jackets, killer-looking helmets, team jerseys, cool shirts, and more. And if you're out of town or out of state, no worries. Go to Canesware.com and find everything they have on their site. Select what you want, and they will ship your gear to you. Anything over $99 is shipped for free. Don't wait. Stop at Canesware today.
It's back. The green train is running. Look, Bobby, sometimes you're right, sometimes you're wrong. All righty, welcome to another edition of Fins Talk Today. And as our special guest, you can see, we have Dolphins Thirsty, also known as Rob.
Thank you.
Fins up, everybody.
Fins up, Hank.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. And I don't have in front of me, I don't have all the online comments, so you'll have to take care of those for us today, Rob, if you would.
No
if
problem.
You got those in front of you. Fins up. Fins up, Ray. Fins up, bro. All right. So we got a lot going on for the Miami Dolphins lately, I guess. But that's most teams except those going into the Super Bowl, I guess.
Yep, so, exactly.
Dolphins are doing this DC search. And they've now interviewed like 6 or 7 candidates. Former Bills DC Frazier, outside linebacker, Coach Ryan Slowick, Dolphins linebacker coach Campanelli, Chargers former head coach Brandon Staley, Texas linebacker Chris Kiffin, and Ravens defensive line coach Anthony Weaver. Obviously, we would support whomever Miami chooses.
Right.
But at this point in time, out of those names that I named, who would you prefer Miami to pick up?
Well, the guy that's the leader in the clubhouse, according to rumors, of course, is Anthony Weaver. That's who people are saying is going to be the next coordinator. And I wouldn't mind that. I'd be on board with that. He comes from a tough team, a winning organization, and, maybe he can bring some of that winning spirit to Miami. Because really, at the end of the day, what do we know about any of these guys being defensive coordinators for our Dolphins? So you would have to hope, Hank. I know we've been having a lot of hope here for the past 20 years as a Dolphins fan, but you would have to hope they get it right. They know better than us. McDaniel and whoever else is doing the interviews just picks the right guy. But right now they're saying it's Anthony Weaver.
What do you think about Brandon Staley? Because I've heard grumbles about Brandon Staley. So what are your opinion and what do you think about, or what have you heard?
I actually like him. I know a lot of Dolphin fans don't like Staley, and they would have been mad or will be mad if he ends up being the choice. And it's contrary to the reports we are hearing. He's okay because just 1 year as a DC, he actually had a good, he had a good defense when he was a defensive coordinator. Everyone's judging him off his head coaching experience, but we know there's a lot of good guys that have been great coordinators, but they're not good head coaches. But doesn't mean they can't go back to being great coordinators again. So I don't hold that against him, because when you're the head coach, you got a lot of stuff on your plate. You got a lot more things going on, and it's not as easy just to make your defense rank highly. So I'd be fine. If any of the names on the list, I'm fine with, Hank.
Really? Wow, that's pretty good. For me, personally, I don't want to hire from within. I want us to hire somebody from outside. There's a couple names from within, a name or two from within the Dolphins community. But I want them to bring somebody in. I think I'm like with everybody else. If they go and get the Ravens defensive line coach, Anthony Weaver, I'm all about that. I'll take that. I'll take that as a win. If they get Brandon Staley, I'll take that as a win. I know, like you said, there are some grumblings out there about whether or not he should be, they're judging him off his head coach experience. And that's just not, it's not the way you do it. But, I can understand where fans are at with that at the same time. Yeah. Hey, did you happen to notice that we're in cap hell right now?
Yes. Unfortunately, I did. All and right. It's lucky we do, because we got Scotty in the house who loves talking about the cap. So he knows. Right. And he will tell us all the moves you can make to lower the cap. So it fits your narrative for today, Hank. But yes, right I know. There you go. Hey, hammer time.
Pins up. So the Dolphins need to make some moves this offseason to get on the plus side of the cap situation. We're currently at $51 million over the cap, as you know. Some of the moves needed could be the end for some fan favorites, such as Xavier Howard, Ogba, Baker, Smythe, Jeff Wilson. Which of these players would you like to see back? And who is not named on this list you'd rather see gone as well?
Well, I don't like to see anyone gone. I'm the homer. I love my guys. But the ones that would hurt less, obviously, Wilson will hurt less because we got other running backs that have done the job, and he barely got playing time this year anyway. So he would hurt less. I will put it that nice way. And then Smythe, we need a tight end, so I don't want to see him going until we play someone, because he's our best guy. So what you're just distracting from a spot that's not already that strong. So you don't want to take away until we get another body that can do his job. So he's done it. So
there's a guy on the board that I like, and right now he's on the big board at 123. His name is Wiley. He's a tight end. I forgot which school he's out of. I don't remember, but I really like this kid. And if Miami decides to move back or whatever at 21 and pick up something along the hundreds in there somewhere, I hope they pick up that kid as our tight end.
Well, that would work, like I say. And we will see on that front. But like you say, we don't have many picks after, because we got the first and the second, and then no third and no fourth. So you definitely have to somehow, some way, you got to get extra picks in there to make some of those picks happen.
Yeah, I'm thinking if we trade back, even possibly into the second round to like 30 something. Fins up, doll. Even to 30 something, in the 30s. I'd take that, just into the second round. But they better be giving up something awfully nice, because I think that there are players that will still be available, especially in the 30s. That's when we're going to start seeing a lot of players stacked and a lot of teams chomping at the bit to get that second round pick on the second day. And if Miami can land somewhere in that 33 to 35 range, I think we'd be doing really good. But that's just my opinion on it. So let's see. Moving on. So is there anybody on this list? So is there anybody on the list that you want Miami to cut, that you think we need to cut? Yeah, Wiley's from TCU. That's what it was. Thank you, Scotty.
And on the draft, like I said, I don't have any individual names on the draft yet. That, obviously, then a couple of the offensive linemen that's linked to us, like the Jackson kid, the Jackson Power kids, and that name and the front to I won't even say his name, but all the offensive linemen that have been linked to the Dolphins, any of those are fine. And And as far as the star leaving, Courtney, leave the room for a minute. Because I would say Xavier Howard makes sense as far as the cap money wise. Not that I want to lose Xavier because he's the longest tenured Dolphin, but I know Courtney's going to come after me if she's still in the room. But
it's
almost
time for him, though. I gotta admit, you're on the right track, Rob. In my opinion, he is the longest Dolphin, and that means he's also the oldest Dolphin, one of the oldest Dolphins. And time isn't serving him well right now.
Right. And it has to be, as he said, it has to be a post June 1st cut because of how the contract works. So you wouldn't even get that money right away, but you'd be able to sign all your draft picks and stuff. So that money you get from him.
Let's talk about some more grumblings out there. Ron Jaworski, the Miami Dolphins, made headlines last week by parting ways with defensive coordinator Vic Fangio. After just one season, players celebrated the move on social media. And now we're hearing Fangio's side of the story, too. Former NFL quarterback Ron Jaworski appeared on 94 Whips Tuesday morning show and pinned Miami's defensive struggles on players despite Fangio's efforts to push them. And here's what coach's coach, Jaworski, said. I have connections as well around the league, and I hear another side of that story, that there were some players on that defense that didn't want to work, didn't want to put in the time, and didn't want to put in the effort, didn't want to make the commitment to be successful. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, it's hard. It's hard to know because just when anyone gets let go, it's always he said. They're the reason I'm gone, and then the other people, these are the reasons he's gone. They all let their little stories leaked out, so people take their sides in the whole. This is Dolphins 101. The Dolphins do this same thing when Flores got all the bad stories on Flores came out. Then he said, "Oh yeah, Miami, I'm gonna punch you right back in the mouth and put all these allegations against you." Yeah, so that happens all the time in Miami Dolphins. Jalen Ramsey spoke of it from the Pro Bowl, and he says he doesn't think it came from Fangio because he knows the guys on the defense work, and that Fangio he doesn't think would say that, so that Jaworski got his stuff from other locations because he says he knows he works. He goes, yeah, are we young guys and do we like to go have fun sometimes? Yes, but it doesn't hamper our performance on the field. We go out and we do what we have to do. We all work hard, and Ramsey said he's like one of the hardest working guys. He goes, you don't battle back from the injury I had from going out partying. So, so it's basically he took offense to it, and he doesn't think Fangio started it. So he's kind of saying it's, he didn't say it was Jaworski or anything, but he's kind of implicating that Jaworski's just spreading the false stuff. And I know. So,
well, that's big juicy stuff. That's a big juicy steak for everybody to bite into and argue about. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, people are going to have their comments here and there. I don't think that really matters on the inside of the locker room. And if there were players that were like that were difficult, they'll already have them spotted out and they'll be getting rid of them.
Yeah. Hey, Ender. No, you're 100% correct. And, like I say, fans overreact to that. They just, we all have jobs and we all still go and enjoy our off time because off time is off time. And people they're mad at Tua for going golfing on, now at the off. Oh my God, he should be getting ready for football 24/7. Why is he out there golfing? I'm like, come on, guys. They're human. They get to enjoy some time off just like we want to go and enjoy some time off. So I think that gets overlooked. Now, if I found out there was players partying until 3 a.m. the night before a game, then my tune would change. If you're out there getting drunk, at 3 a.m. on a Saturday night before they're playing a game at 1 o'clock the next day, then of course I would change my tune. But if they just go out on their off day on the Tuesdays that the Dolphins normally get off, if they go out and have a little bit of fun, as long as they're ready to go practice on Wednesday, who am I to take away their fun on their day off? Because that's what it is. It's a day off to go get away from what they do.
For me, it's not so much the time that they'd be getting in, say the 3 a.m. or the 5 a.m. It's how many they'd be laying back would be the issue. Because you drink too many, you're going to be no good to anybody.
I know, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, it depends how many you drink. That's it. I mean,
it depends on what they're laying back for the night. So,
yeah, I think that was just Jaworski speaking out on his buddy Fangio.
Yeah.
Because he saw Fangio getting ripped in the media and that he wasn't very friendly with the coaches and was kind of offish with other coaching staff, not players, but coaching staff. So I can understand if you're offish with players or whatever, because you want to be that hard, but you can't be offish with other coaching staff if they have some input. I mean, if you are the coordinator, but so who knows what stories are true? Maybe that was just Dolphins throwing out somewhere in the truth. Like I said, as a lifelong in the line of work I did, law enforcement, we always said when you go to a domestic, there's what she said, he said, and somewhere in the middle, there's the truth. And it goes the same way with these. So somewhere in the middle, there's the truth. Maybe some players aren't as hard workers as we would like, but maybe Fangio's a pain in the ass to other coaches too. I mean, so it's, it could be all the same. So it's good stuff.
I like it. Let's talk a little bit about the draft. We're kind of zooming through things today, to be honest with you, but that's all right. It's a nice day. I'm going to go out and enjoy myself when we get done here. Florida is a beautiful state. I love it here.
Yes,
all right.
So do I.
Draft talk. So, Finns Talk Sports Network had its season premiere episode of On the Clock on Monday night, and the crew dived into some of the top offensive line prospects in this year's draft, but one player stuck out. Jackson Powers Johnson, the center out of Oregon, seems like the day after his name blew up on social media and he was having a killer week at the Senior Bowl. What are your thoughts on Powers Johnson? Would you like him as a pick at 21, or is there another player that has your eye?
Well, right now he's like I like to say, leader in the clubhouse, because he is. He was a darling of the Dolphins' eyes when it grew up. We need a center. He was out there balling, getting rave reviews. Some people think that might be a little too high, but the thing is, he's not going to be there for your second pick. So if you love him, you better grab him. And if he falls to you there, and that's it. I mean, we need offensive linemen, and just hope they get it right. That's why I never fall in love with specific names. I do every year, so I'm lying. But, like last year, we love this guy, love this guy, love this guy. Then they come and pick Cam Smith, not a guy that any of us had really even studied that much. So, it's hard to know what the Dolphins are thinking. But you would think that they know they need offensive linemen. And yes, that would be a fine pick with me if they.
But there are tackles that are rated higher than him, offensive tackles that are rated higher than him. There's offensive guards that are rated higher than him. So, I see that he did something nice, but, on the big board, just for now, he's on the big board around 35. Okay, give or take. Right. He's around 35 right now. That's why I say if Miami trades back around 30, somewhere in the 30s, they might be able to still get him. And I just think there's a lot of talent that's going to go before him is why. And I don't know. I think if we trade back and we get somewhere in the hundreds, needs to be a left tackle. Absolutely. I would love to see us pick up a left tackle, Scotty. I couldn't agree more. I mean, but, you might have somebody like, again, out of Oregon State. What's his name? Fuga, Fuaga.
Right. Yeah. He's another one that's a popular among the Dolphin fans at that spot right there. And the guy out of Houston. There's been a few I've seen linked to the Dolphins. Almost everyone and their mother in that pick. I think I may have seen a defensive back once or twice, but most of the mock drafts from the, not from the guys like you and me just sitting there, but, like the CBS guys that get employed to do it and the NFL guys that get employed to do it. Not that they know
Hey,
any better, but
I'm a
those
professional.
guys,
I
they
can
almost
do it I can guess just as good as they can.
Yeah, me too. That's what I say. But 95% of those guys have us taking offensive linemen. Mel Kiper had us taking an offensive lineman. So all those type gurus all have us taking linemen. And then all the Dolphin fans I see, like you and me and everyone, we're all taking offensive linemen with our mock drafts. So
Well,
Chris Greer
you
will
know,
probably do something else.
there's some other players that I like too. I mean, Miami could use a really good number 3 wide receiver also.
Yep.
And for me, you have Troy Franklin, who's rated number 42 on the board. I like him. You know, he might be sitting there for our 55 pick. Like I said, he's rated 42 though, so it's kind of a maybe. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I think they would want to pick up somebody like Tavondre Sweat or somebody like that.
Well, no, you're right. But I also don't forget edge rusher because we don't know what Phillips is going to come back as. And then Chubb's out until late next season. So don't forget edge rusher. So you pointed good. We do need a number 3 receiver to complement Hill and Waddle, but we also need some edge rushers. So really that pick's open for everything. End of the day, I still think it really needs to be offensive lineman, but you do make some good points that we don't have to be tied into it. If a great player falls and we're like, oh my God, I can't believe this guy's sitting here at 21. We just got to take him right here, right now, and not think twice about it. So that could happen.
I'm hoping, like I said, I'm hoping we trade back and pick up somebody that we want that's one of these top tier. Like I said, 33, if we trade back to between 33 and 35, I'd be tickled freaking pink, man.
Right. As long as they don't go too far back, because you do want one of the top end type talents, but then you also want to fill in those gaps because we go from the first to the second round, but then we go all the way through the third and all the way through a fourth without being back on the clock.
Well, that's why if we trade back and we pick up something like 80 something and 110 or something like that, you know, something like that, some mix where we trade back and pick up 2 slots. That's what I think we need to do. But, you know, that's just my opinion. And, you know, I don't think watching all those players go by, and there's some great players around those picks. Like I said, I like Wiley. He's ranked 123 on the board. I think he'll go earlier. For our late draft pick, though, like our 7th rounder, I'd like to go with wide receiver, also special returnist, Gould. I believe his name is Anthony Gould, and he's ranked around 260 on the big board. So it's just a matter of opinion on who you like. You know what I mean? It doesn't really, you know, I could sit here and do these mock drafts all day and make it where I win everything.
Oh yeah, no, you could definitely, until they start getting a little better as I think, I don't know where they get their analytics from, but they start getting better as it gets closer. The picks on those mock jack simulators start getting a little bit more realistic, and you start seeing more of the same names go at the top. But yeah, sometimes, man, some of your favorite players can fall all the way to 21 that you know are not going to be there, at 21. So, but no, it's great.
We are in a great position at 21 is my point.
Yeah, no,
that's the point I'm trying to make overall. Like you said, we could pick this guy. We could pick that guy. This guy could be there. You know, you got everybody from offensive tackles to edge to quarterbacks to cornerbacks to safeties to offensive guards, offensive tackles, centers. I mean, everything's available at 21. And like I said, you trade back to 30-something, I still think you have the same availability of those players that we want. There'll still be a blue chip player left at the beginning of the second round, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And hope so. Miami needs so much. You know, we need an OT, an OG, a cornerback, a safety, a defensive tackle. Those are our needs. Like to have, in addition to that, an edge rusher. But if we don't trade back and get more picks, we're going to have some problems, covering, especially if we're chopping people off the block here soon.
No, you're 100% right. And I agree with Ralph. Don't trade back just to trade back. Make sure you get good value out of the trade back. Don't just trade back and get lower value picks. You're right, Mr. Courtwright. You got to get good value, make a team really want to come up there and take that spot. Don't just trade for some mid picks that doesn't mean at least, I know they all use a newer version of the Jimmy Johnson trade chart. There's like a newer version floating around, they say. But you still want to get at least that value out, if not a little bit better. If some team wants to come up in the first round, make them pay to come up in the first round. Don't just say, oh, yeah, we're going to take a fourth round to drop back. No, you better at least get a third round.
Get a second and get a third if you're trading back out of the first. Get value, like you said. If you're going to go back 7 spots, that's worth 2 picks to me. Whether it's a third and a fourth or whether it's a second and a third, depends on who's on the board and, things like that. And I wouldn't want to lose somebody great at the same time. Like you said, if there's just that blue chip guy and he's sitting there and you're like salivating going, man, I didn't think that guy would be there. Pick him, take him. That's how I see it. But I just see a lot of options because I'm looking at the big board now while I'm talking to you. And that 35 down, those players look awfully good to me. A lot of those players look awfully good to me is my point. Yeah. And, you're talking a lot of offensive tackles. You're talking 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You got 5 to 6 offensive tackles. By the time we're picking at 21, you still have that.
No, I know you're right. And I'm with you 100% though, because that big gap from the second round until we draft again is just too devastating, man. It's
too much.
Yeah,
too much.
Especially on a roster that needs younger, cheaper players because we are against the cap, like we mentioned to start the show. We're in that cap hell, and it's just like to help free that up. It's good to have young players under rookie contracts fill in for some of those guys that you can move on from. And yes, I know they'll be able to get under the cap with no problem. But the no problem means some players that we like, as you brought up, are going to be gone. But yes, you can move on from them. But my point is, you got to get young guys so you don't get in this cap mess every couple of years. So these teams that win a lot have a lot of young talent. Hey, Steve Malloy. Yes, guys, make sure you hit those thumbs up for us. Thank you, Steve.
Thumbs up, Steve.
So someone said, would you, if it's off our topic, but would you like Harbaugh and Herbert, or do you like McDaniel and Tua more? That's from Hunter.
I like Harbaugh a lot. I really do. He's a great coach. So, I liked Herbert coming out of Oregon because I lived in Oregon at the time. So I watched a lot of Herbert, and the guy to me was phenomenal. So, it's I take the Jim and Herbert over the McDaniel and Tua. At this current point in time, that's where I would hedge my bet.
Yeah, no, I've always liked Jim Harbaugh. Even back when the Dolphins screwed it up and went and snuck behind everyone's back and hired him while we still had a coach. Interviewed him while we still had a coach. I liked him back then. But, he went on he did got the 49ers to the Super Bowl and then put Michigan as a national champion. And so he's a good coach. He gets the job done. They say he wears his welcome out every few years, and because he's really tough to work with, and him and general managers. But hey, if he got us through the Super Bowl, he could leave after a few years. At least we would have them. How long it's been. Hey, 305 Sports Now, and this guy puts out good videos all the time.
If we were to get just a few things going our way as far as this draft goes, I think Miami has another chance to compete. We're going to have to cut some people. There's no doubt about that. But, we can also cut people that aren't as big of a loss they would normally be. Like you said, X carries a lot of money.
Yeah. And then
You have Baker. I mean, all those names, I named earlier, you could cut basically every one of them.
yeah, and Ogba is probably going to be gone.
Yeah,
And
you'd still
Ross,
be all right.
yeah, no, I agree.
And I take a look at the big board, and I'm guessing this is what the GM. I'm hoping this is what the GMs or their staff does. And you're going to look at the big board, and you're going to see where your picks are with those players. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that's where you're going to decide who you want to trade with at what pick. So, I mean, that's already kind of predetermined. If they want to get a couple picks, they should know who they can trade with and who they can't trade with.
Right.
By the time their big board is made up. So when they hit 21, they know already, well, this guy will probably be there at pick 33. So let's trade with the Panthers at 33. And then they turn around and trade with the Panthers at 33.
Yeah, no, I agree. I mean, there's are smart ways to do it, and hopefully teams start calling you, bringing it up, because then you're in the more power position when they start calling. Hey, we really need to get up there. That instead of us calling saying, "Hey, if you're interested," then they know we're desperate for So make them.
I think Miami's going to get a lot of calls at 21. A lot of calls. To be totally honest with you, I think they will get a lot of calls.
No, it's what makes the draft, and I hope they do, and I hope they fill in some in the third and the fourth round, so we don't have the day 2 of the draft. I mean, day 3 of the draft being boring as anything. So it's just like, man,
just so we have excitement, right?
I know. So it's just like, man, let's fill in some, and then next year finally we start. No more tampering picks taken, and hopefully we don't trade away any more picks. I mean, other than late round picks. So,
if we trade down into the 40s, which I don't like, I'll tell you right now, I don't like that. You could get about 3 or 4 picks.
Yeah, well, if you trade down that far, you better get a next year number 1 from the team moving up.
Well, that's a definite. That's a definite.
Yeah, that doesn't help us now.
I'm looking at this year also, though.
I know, but I'm saying, if you trade that far, I'm just saying the Dolphins better come up with a first round pick next year. So at least
at a minimum.
Yeah, I know.
It's either that or four picks or so now.
Yeah.
And I'm talking like something in the 50s, 60s, something in the 80s, something in the 100, somewhere around there. You better get at least 3 of those. So
yeah, no, I'm 100% with you, Hank. And that's why I love the draft. Like I always say on my show, I've been watching the draft before it was popular. It was popular enough to get on TV, but it was aired starting Tuesday mornings. I know a lot of people probably say, no way. But if you go look up what day Dan Marino, and then you look at a calendar, he was drafted on a Tuesday. That's how long I've been watching the NFL draft. So it's fun. I used to have the big blue Mel Kiper book, like all because that's the only thing. There was no internet. There was nothing else. So you had a mail order. You had to mail order your Mel Kiper draft, and I would look forward to it coming in the mailbox. It was like the best day.
There was no sports break and ESPN going, and there was a lot of things that weren't going on.
I know, so it's not like in this team rumor. I mean, so hey, that's why Mel Kiper became a very rich man. He found something that people like, and he made money. He loved it, so he said, "Man, I'm sure other people love the draft too." So we can all make fun of him and all of his hot takes and him being wrong, make fun of his big hair. But at the end of the day, man, he made a lot of money doing something that he loves to do. So, I give him kudos. I give him kudos for that.
Yeah, I mean, he I have to go and research. See, what I do is I go and I have to research players. I don't watch college, so I have to go research all these people, that people take for granted that we pick and all that. But it takes a lot of time to do that research. So I understand why. But I do it just because I like to, I do it because I like to.
Oh, it's fun. Yeah, it's a lot better than doing the research I used to do back when I was a kid in school. Believe me, I'd be like, the teacher probably said, man, Rob's really writing today. But I'd be doing mock drafts by hand in class when I used saying, oh, he could fall. I remember doing Richmond Webb's draft, and I know Richmond Webb. I had a feeling because everyone was saying, but I used to say, oh no, what if he takes him here and this and that. I would sit there doing drafts over and over and over again.
That's what I do. I do about 2 hours or more of mock drafts a day.
I know it's so much easier now, man. I used to have to hand write those all. Each team I would have to hand write. So if the Dolphins were picking in the 20s, I would have to get all the way.
Now it's like
just,
boop, boop, boop.
Yeah. When the Dolphins drafted Webb, I only did the top 10 picks because we had the 9th pick. So I was able to hammer out tons of them. And so I was hammering out tons of those picks. But man, that's how much of a nerd. I used to sit there and write mock drafts over mock drafts. And it was crazy. And then almost every year they pick someone. I'm like, what? Someone I hadn't even read that much about. And, like Eric Kumaro and all of this stuff. So it's just, it never fails. But it's so much fun doing all that stuff.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I got. You got anything else, Thirsty?
Nope. Guys, if you guys like baseball, we are going to be doing a baseball show here Friday morning at 10 a.m. on the Fins Talk Sports Network. I have not yet to meet the host. I'm going to be his co-host. Should be fun. We're going to talk all things baseball. That's something I got to go research because I'm very strong in. I haven't met him yet. Bobby tweeted it out the other day. I forget his name, and I haven't even met him. I need to get with Bobby and ask him so we can have contact so we can decide. But I'm very strong on Boston Red Sox, but not so. Just like I am with the Dolphins. But not so strong. So I've been looking up because this is going to be baseball in general, not just like
go
my
Yankees.
Yeah. Yeah. So, but
hey,
anyway,
I'm from New York. Sorry.
Yeah. Hey,
that's one of those common mixes is Yankees fans and Dolphins fans.
Oh no, there's definitely a lot more Yankee and Dolphin fans than there are Red Sox. I mean, without a doubt. I'm trying to look up the guy's name. But I haven't met him yet, so I'll let you know later, Hank. I send you his texting. But Bobby reached out to him because he's been wanting to do a baseball, so that's cool. I think that's cool. I like baseball, and not many people like baseball anymore. So the name of the host is Russell Morgan. So Russell Morgan. So I gotta meet him. So we just see. Because he said, we are excited to announce the launch of our new MLB coverage, so-called On Deck, a baseball pod with hosts Russell Morgan and Dolphins Thirsty. So there you go. Oh, Hank left. I didn't see what happened to Hank, guys. Anyway, guys, I think we're good. Big fins up to you guys. Make sure you know that. Here comes Hank. All right. I didn't even see you drop out.
I just like leaving you hanging out there by yourself.
Yeah, that's all. I didn't even know because I was here looking for the guy's name, and I didn't even know you were out. But it's Russell Morgan is the guy's name. And
right on. So, well, I hope that you and Russell have a great kickoff on Friday at 10 a.m.
Yes, it should be fun, man. It should be fun. Try to get baseball fans to this channel. So it should be fun, a fun attempt at least. So it's all good.
But anyway, if you're not a Yankees fan.
I know. That's why I say there are lots of Yankee fans among Dolphin fans, for sure. I'm in the minority.
I was before they started buying wins, too, by the way, when they actually used to win.
Right. Yeah, I know.
Back in the 70s, when they used to win them.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, nowadays, I know. So anyway, nowadays all these teams buy them, unfortunately, most of them. My draft, he went receiver, linebacker, defensive line, tight end, safety, and offensive tackle with our 6 picks. So, not
right
bad.
on.
So that's out. That's different. But anyway, so yeah, I'm ready to go. If you're ready to go, I can close this sucker out. It was fun as always.
Let me just tell everybody thank you for coming out. We appreciate having you folks. And remember, if you're thirsty for Dolphins content, head on over to dolphinsthirsty.com.
Well,
don't forget us on the weekends. Don't forget that my son and I, Junior and I, we're on Thursday nights at 8 o'clock. And we'd like you to join us anytime on the Fins bandwagon. And that's all we have for today. And as always, we want to wish you all a Fins up.
All right. Sounds good.